This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Money Matters on KPFT Houston. I'm Chris Hensley. The time is now 11 a.m. is what I'm so used to saying every single Friday, but we are yet once again broadcasting live from my extra bedroom in my home after many, many weeks of quarantine. So we have a fantastic guest with us today, Megan O'Connor. We are going to really kind of answer the question, does college prepare us for the real world? But we're also going to kind of do a deep dive into what college even looks like right now with everything going on. With that, I always, if you are a longtime listener, you know that we reserve just the first few moments of the show to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the Houston and the Gulf Coast area when it comes to financial literacy. And you know that I'm part of the Houston Money Week leadership team. And so I don't have a whole bunch of updates on that. We have started a meeting as part of the leadership team, but that will be kicking off in April of 2021. And hopefully we will be back out in the community doing free workshops and seminars for people who have questions about financial literacy. State Representative Carol Alvarado does have an event going on actually, I think it's next week, and it's a virtual job fair. So for anybody in the Gulf Coast region who is in the process of either transitioning or looking for work, you could go to Carol Alvarado's website, and then it'll have the information for that virtual seminar that's taking place. With that, let's go ahead and maximize our time with Megan, who is patiently waiting for us here. And I want to introduce you to the listeners. For listeners that don't know you, you're serving as an entrepreneur in residence at Kaplan. And I know Kaplan from the college guys, but they're one of the world's largest and most diversified educational service providers. You're currently spearheading the development of Kaplan's new Boost program. So maybe we'll start with that. Tell us a little bit about the Boost program. What is that?
Well, thanks so much for having me on the show, Chris. It's great to be here. And you're right, I am a entrepreneur in residence, or what we like to call EIR at Kaplan. And the cool thing is Kaplan is actually known for quite a bit more than just test prep. It's really a great partner for helping students progress through their educational and career lives. And that's where you'll find Boost. Boost is a product really situated at the intersection of students learning in the classroom and then they're learning outside of the classroom as they emerge into their career. Boost specifically is designed to help students understand what careers might be of interest to them and what skills they need to get that career. I think a lot of students, have spent their time in school trying to get good grades, good test scores, and sometimes forget what the end point is of why are we doing all this learning? It's to eventually enter the workforce. So Boost bridges that gap specifically for high school graduates and educates them on what does the real world look like in terms of work and how can they engage with it.
I love that. I love that. So that's a lot of important stuff there. One, you said the end result, it's not just about what's inside the classroom, outside the classroom as well, and the end result of entering into the workforce eventually. One of the things I wanted to ask about is the idea that college, and I do college planning with my clients as well, but college is one of those biggest investments that a family can make. And many of the students spend much of their time just trying to figure out what they want to do. How does Boost or how does Kaplan help with that?
So I think that a lot of students don't think too much in their early days of high school around what they want to be when they grow up. I don't know about you, but if you had asked me in high school what I wanted to be, it certainly wasn't something that I could get as a first job right out of school. And so what we provide is the opportunity for students to take an assessment that lets them know of the things that they're interested in and of the skills they already have here's jobs that require those types of skills and are made up of those types of interests. And it really is a holistic assessment. It's not just around understanding, are you a mathematical genius? It's around thinking about what kind of life do you want to live when you grow up? Do you want to be in a big city, or do you want to be outside? Do you want to be somebody who works on a big team or works independently? And we're not telling students you have to make these decisions set in stone, but we're saying, hey, these are also considerations around picking your career. After students take the assessment in Unit 1 of Boost, they then go on to explore careers that map to their interests. And we do it in an inch-deep way, meaning that what's hard for students at scale to do is get an internship. And certainly COVID has made it even harder for us to go and either work or intern or even be an apprentice of somebody in the workforce. So we've developed a methodology for students to be able to experience real world careers in a way that lets them see what the job is like, understand what the real day-to-day of that role looks like, and be able to do so from the comfort of their own home. Next, we help students think through, well, now what do I do with all this information? How do I go forward? And each student gets their own personalized go forward plan. Let's say that in Unit 1, you learn, hey, based on your interests, you're very likely to want to go on to be an engineer. And in the second phase of the program, Unit 2, you then get career exposure to individuals who have those jobs. You learn what those skills look like, what their day-to-day looks like. And then in Unit 3, you learn, okay, now what do I do with this information? What school should I be applying to? What type of major should I pick? What types of extracurriculars should I be looking out for, so that way I can go ahead and get the intel I need and gain the skills I need to join this workforce after graduation?
I love that. I love that. It used to be an internship was kind of an optional thing, but I think nowadays volunteer work and an internship are almost expected when you enter into the workforce. So kind of putting in the context of, hey, COVID's going on and people aren't physically out there right now, and you guys doing something on the internship side is a lot. I like the idea of the go forward plan. Now I'm gonna kind of pivot here, and I know that there's a lot of data that shows that there's kind of a gap between college experience and work readiness. Can you speak on that for a little bit?
There really is. We did a lot of research at Kaplan before launching the Boost program, and what we were finding is that across the board, employers of entry-level candidates were feeling as if there's people coming into the fold weren't prepared for the workforce, even though they had college degrees. And the vast majority of college students were reporting that they felt like their college experience didn't prepare them for their first job, despite the fact that most university leaders say that their university 100% does prepare students for the workforce. So there's really just a mismatch in terms of the types of skills and specifically new economy skills that are being taught in the college classroom. So that's where Boost is here for, like to fill that gap, to give students the real live information about here's the jobs of today and here's the skills you need to participate in them. It's not to say that college experiences aren't extraordinarily valuable. We can talk about why for a multitude of reasons, but in today's economy and in today's world, what we're finding in our surveying of both students and families is that their number one concern is their student getting their first job, and they'd prefer for them to get access to that first job over a name brand university degree.
So that's also very important. And you talked about the new economy and really kind of the skills for today. I know it's a moving target for I've talked to clients that normally when we're doing college planning, we have to take in, UT here in Texas, University of Texas. Okay, are we going to put them in a dorm? And they're like, well, this year we don't have to do that because at least for the first couple of semesters, we're doing it remotely. So different kind of moving target here. And so I know that they're facing uncertain and non-traditional semesters. Many students are exploring different paths as they try to figure out what they want to be. Speak a little bit about that as well.
Well, one thing I think that is difficult for students to understand is that what major should you pick right out the gate? I don't know about you, but in high school, I spent all my time thinking about getting good grades and doing well in the AP exams or the SATs. I forgot to think about what came after that. So when you get to college, you end up making oftentimes a rushed decision to pick your major. And quite honestly, that's one of the more important decisions that you'll make. But how can you make a major decision if you don't know what the end is, if you don't have that in mind of what major do I need to unlock the job I want? So by giving students this exposure to different careers and what majors are related to that, it helps them make a better decision at the beginning of their college experience. And I will say, there's a lot of financial ramifications for picking the wrong college major out the gate. You end up switching it, and actually we found in our research that over 50% of students do switch their major in college, and in doing so, they end up incurring additional expenses. They go to college longer, they take more courses that they didn't necessarily have to. So this whole idea of thinking through what you might want to be at the beginning of college really saves families quite a bit of money before they make one of the largest investments they will make as a family.
I love that. I love that. That's almost backing into your major, kind of getting an idea of, what's the income level, what's the economy, what are you trying to do? As a philosophy and English major who is now a financial advisor, I can also testify to the idea that, yes, you might end up changing majors, and the idea of kind of front loading your end result and what you want out of it sounds fantastic. To have that decision point at the beginning. Let's talk a little bit about COVID-19. I know that has really put kind of a monkey wrench in traditional gap year experiences, which means students are seeking alternative options. What does that look like for students today?
Yeah, I think that COVID has done some really, difficult things for students as it relates to school. And I really do feel for students who are waiting for, their first freshman year of college and excited to get on campus and have the traditional experience they won't have now. But it's also in some ways accelerated positive change. It's helped companies be open to the idea of engaging with students in a virtual setting versus a traditional internship within the four walls of the company. And that really democratizes access to that career exposure for students. I think that the COVID world has also helped students in terms of having just more bandwidth in your day to do a diverse set of activities. So today's college student also now can juggle doing a boot camp on the side or some other continuing learning activity outside their traditional university. And it's typically those boot camps or other online programs where you get the super tactical education of here's how you do some of these things that you'll use in the workforce. A great example is taking some sort of different technical course, whether it be on website development or coding or even digital marketing, the types of things that you just wouldn't see within a course at school. And the fact that you can kind of inform the experience of both those things at the same time, learn theoretically about a subject while also tactically getting to practice in the subject.
I love it. I love it. So these are some of the things that we're familiar with internships, but the idea of virtual internships, we've kind of taken our geographic limit to outside of that through when we add the word virtual or remote. And so some of these technical courses, coding, these boot camps, and really kind of tactically dialing into what they want to learn, but then expanding their reach outside of just where they are locally, is a positive way to look at the COVID stuff, because it's kind of forced our hand on some of the things that might be resources to begin with that we didn't really look at. So let's also talk. Boost helps students who are looking to bridge the gap between the college experience and work readiness. What else can you tell us about that?
I can tell you that the Boost program is very personalized. So students are going to get to work one-on-one with a mentor throughout the course and go through the experience with a cohort, a group of like-minded individuals who are also doing this type of exploration. The other things I can tell you is that Google is our partner for the program for some of the different career tracks. So you get to learn from Google employees, what it's like to do their job, the skills that are important to them. And I think that, the spoiler is that a lot of students are going to be surprised by the skills that are necessary to do some of the jobs within that company. And last, I would say that students actually can take Boost while doing a diverse set of other activities. Many students are taking a gap year this fall because they're waiting for universities to go back on campus, or they're taking some time to figure out things financially before they jump into a traditional four-year degree. So Boost is a great fit for those students taking a gap year. It's also a great fit for students who are enrolled in online courses, because like I said a couple minutes ago, this now for the first time ever has presented a semester where students can do more than one educational activity at a time.
I love it. I love it. Before being or during the course of my career, I took a sideline as a corporate trainer, so I've got an HR background as well. The reason I'm bringing this up is as I was doing the research on Boost, I noticed that there's a relationship with Myers-Briggs, which personality testing is something I'm a big advocate of. Tell us a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, we use the Vita Navis Strengths Finder assessment within Boost, and we've also partnered with Find Your Grind as well for their assessment, both of which help students understand the skills they possess and also the interests that they have.
Wow. Okay. So that's pretty in depth. I've never heard that on of any of the college prep type stuff going that far into it. So I really, really like that. We're right here towards the end. Now, if you're driving and listening to this, where can they go to get more information to find out about Boost?
So you can go to boostbykaplan.com and you can see our applications right there on the website. We also have the opportunity for you to sign up and get on our listserv so you can learn more information about the program and read our blogs along the way.
Perfect. And so if you are driving, don't feel like you have to grab a pen because we will have that on the podcast notes as well. We'll put a link on that. Megan, last few seconds here or last 30 seconds here. What have I forgot to ask you that you'd like to leave listeners with today?
The last thing I'd like to leave listeners with today is that there's a lot of amazing opportunities coming up in this 2020-2021 school year. And even though it certainly got off on a strange foot with all the changes in the world, I would just say be optimistic about just how much you can pack into this next year and the opportunities ahead.
I love it. What a great note to end on. Megan, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You as well.